Thank you, Ms. Toastmaster. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. Whenever I talk to people about a number of different subjects, whether it's economics, politics, or in industry, I notice that a lot of people, including myself, can make lots of bad arguments. So I want to spend some time today talking about what are some different types of bad arguments, what they're called, and give maybe a few examples so that we can identify them in our daily lives. For example, did you know that elementary schools are sexist? They're sexist. And you might respond, what do you mean? Well, if we look at the data, women make up about 51% of the U.S. population, but they represent about 87% of elementary school teachers. Therefore, it must be because elementary schools are sexist, right? Now, if you're thinking critically, you might object. You might say, well, perhaps more women than men want to be elementary school teachers, and maybe that contributes to the difference. You might also say, well, maybe women tend to be better elementary school teachers because on average, maybe they're more nurturing and caring than men. Both those might be good, arguments. But the claim, just because the data doesn't support the claim that elementary schools are sexist. And this is a very common type of bad argument. And bad arguments are called fallacies. And a fallacy is just a mistaken belief. It's faulty reasoning, something based on unsound logic. And there are actually a number of these different types of fallacies. And I came across this website that I really like. It's called yourlogicalfallacyis.com. And it lists out all these different logical fallacies, tells you what they are, so that you can identify them. I'm going to go through a couple of examples here. One of them is this Texas sharpshooter fallacy. Now, I'm sure that you've heard of, wait so you can see. I'm sure you've heard of this. It's also called cherry picking, where you're just looking at a small subset of data, finding a pattern to fit a presumption. You might have seen in the news I think a couple months ago, Senator Inhofe in the U.S. Senate, while they're talking about climate change and global warming, came in proudly with his snowball and said, I have a snowball, it's cold outside, therefore your argument is invalid. Threw it on the Senate floor. So this is an example of a bad argument. It's called a Texas sharpshooter fallacy, where he's conflating this short cycle called seasons of short-term weather and conflating that with long-term data trends. I like these different types of fallacies and like seeing them and like thinking about them. And I get a lot of inspiration from Facebook. You might have heard of it. It's a social media site, designed for people to share photos, from their adventures, share updates about their lives, reconnect with old high school friends, rekindle old romances if you're not married. Hopefully, if you're not married. But of course, nobody uses it for that anymore. Everybody now just uses it to like and share from their favorite inspirational page or political page. And you might have seen some of these if you have more than 2 friends on Facebook. I'd like to talk about just one of the posts that I saw that I thought was kind of humorous in a different way. You might have seen this if it came up. It says, that awkward moment when millions of racists suddenly transform into sexists. Now, this is talking about, whenever people disagree with President Obama, sometimes some people will say, well, you're just racist, and you disagree with the president. Of course, this is the similar false cause fallacy that we saw earlier with the elementary school teacher. And the reason this is funny isn't because, okay, now, if Republicans are sexist and don't like Hillary. But this example is funny because this page thinks it should be funny, but they're actually making fun of themselves. Because in this case, they're proclaiming that we're using this fallacy for everything, to defend President Obama, and that we're going to continue using this fallacy in the future if Hillary Clinton runs. And that's an example of a false cause fallacy, where you're presuming a real or perceived relationship between things that means that one is the cause of the other. Another good example of false cause fallacy, I guess there's some sports fans in here with this tournament in Kansas City. One of my friends went to the game, and the Iowa State game last night when they won, exciting game, buzzer beater. And sports fans tend to be really superstitious. They always say, hey, we always have to do this formation whenever they go up to a field goal or whenever they go for a free throw. And of course, my friend says, who went to the game yesterday, I always win. They always win whenever I go. And of course, this is another example of a false cause fallacy. It may be very well that they win every time he goes, but it's not because he always goes. So, as March Madness rolls up, try to think of these different false cause fallacies that you might have with sports superstitions. I'd encourage each of you to go check out this website. Look for a couple different logical fallacies that you might use, that you might have used in the past, but also to look out for ones that people use whenever you talk about politics, economics, whatever it might be in your discussions. Thank you.